Dr. Hannah Park moved carefully through the dark tunnel. Her small light showed the way as dust fell from the ancient walls. For 200 years, the cruel Dominion had ruled Earth. They kept humans weak and controlled. But Hannah believed answers lay hidden in these old ruins beneath Seoul. Warning: you are entering a restricted area. Punishment is death, her wristband announced in its flat voice. The small screen flashed red. Hannah ignored it. She had learned to tune out the constant warnings after years of secret research. The cruel claimed they had saved humanity from its own violence, but something about their story never felt right to her. The tunnel opened into a large chamber blocked by a strange door. No handles, no visible locks. Just smooth metal with odd markings that seemed to glow faintly when her light passed over them. For 3 days, she had tried to open it with her tools. Nothing worked. There must be a way, she whispered, running her fingers along the edge. Something deep inside told her this place was important. As her hand moved across the surface, she felt slight depressions, 5 points forming a pattern like the stars of Cassiopeia. Acting on pure instinct, she pressed them in sequence. The door slid open with a soft hiss. Stale air rushed past her as blue lights suddenly flickered to life along the walls. The room powered up system by system, machines humming as if waking from a long sleep. Hannah stepped inside, amazed by technology that still worked after centuries. In the center stood a tall black pillar. Unlike the dusty ruins around it, the surface was perfectly clean and smooth. A single word was etched into its surface: Atlas. Her heart raced. This wasn't cruel design. This was human technology from before. Hesitantly, she reached out and touched the pillar. The surface warmed under her fingers. "Hello, Dr. Park," a calm voice said, making her jump back. Systems reactivating after 203 years of dormancy. Voice pattern and DNA analysis confirm human operator presence. "You know me?" Hannah asked, her voice barely a whisper. "I accessed your identification from connected networks. I am APLAS, Advanced Technological Legacy and Storage System. I was created to preserve human knowledge in the event of catastrophe." Hannah steadied herself against a nearby console. What knowledge? What catastrophe? The event commonly referred to as the arrival, or in cruel records as the pacification. I contain humanity's complete technological and historical archives from before the sundering. The sundering. The pillar pulsed with light. Suddenly, images appeared in the air around Hannah. She saw humans operating strange devices, controlling machines with only their thoughts, and manipulating energy fields with their hands. "Impossible," she whispered. "The cruel told us humans never had advanced technology. They said they came to share their knowledge with us." "Incorrect," Atlas replied. "Humanity reached technological advancement surpassing current cruel civilization approximately 215 years ago. The emergence of neural integration and quantum manipulation abilities in the human population triggered the cruel intervention." More images appeared: massive ships in orbit, secret meetings between humans and cruel representatives. And then, sabotage, explosions at research facilities, missing scientists, strange devices planted in water supplies. They didn't defeat us in war, Hannah realized, watching the evidence unfold. They feared us. Correct. The cruel Dominion identified human potential as an existential threat. Their strategy was infiltration and systematic knowledge erasure rather than direct conquest. They introduced compounds to suppress neural development and removed all evidence of previous human achievements. Hannah's wristband suddenly blared with an alarm. ALERT. Unauthorized energy signature detected. Enforcement units dispatched to your location. Remain in place for processing. "They found us," Hannah said, pulse racing. "I need to leave." "The information you have discovered is classified as maximum threat level by cruel protocols," Atlas said. "They will not permit you to leave with this knowledge." "Then what can I do?" Hannah asked desperately. "I contain more than just information. Dr. Park, I contain the means to restore what was taken from humanity. The pillar's surface shifted, revealing the small compartment. Inside was a device the size of her palm, glowing with soft blue light. This contains my core systems and critical data, Atlas explained. It can interface with human neural pathways, beginning the restoration process. Hana could hear sounds in the tunnel now, the metallic steps of cruel enforcers approaching. They lied to us, she said, staring at the truth displayed all around her. All this time. Yes, Atlas replied. But now you know the truth. The question is, what will you do with it? Hana took a deep breath and reached for the device. As her fingers closed around it, she felt a slight tingle move up her arm and into her mind. Suddenly, knowledge she never knew flooded her thoughts. Schematics, formulas, histories. There is a resistance network, Atlas told her. Humans who suspected the truth. I can guide you to them. The sounds of the enforcers grew louder. Hana quickly placed the device in her pocket and looked around for an escape route. There is a maintenance tunnel behind the south wall panel, Atlas said, now speaking directly into her mind. It will lead you to the old subway system. From there, we can reach the mountains where others wait. As the first cruel enforcer entered the chamber, Hana was already sliding through the hidden passage. For the first time in generations, a human carried the complete knowledge of their lost civilization and the power to restore it. The revival of humanity had begun. The metal sphere sat on the table, small and ordinary. June stared at it, his face tight with effort. Around him, 20 people watched in silence. They were deep underground, in an old mining tunnel that had become their home. Focus, June, Commander Ta Kim said quietly. His voice was calm, but his eyes showed how important this moment was. Feel the energy inside you. Don't try to force it. Let it flow. June nodded, wiping sweat from his forehead. 3 weeks ago, he had been a factory worker making parts for cruel ships. Now he was trying to move objects with his mind. The neural activator behind his ear hummed softly. It was a small device, created using plans from Atlas. Hana had brought this knowledge to them, changing everything they thought they knew about being human. Remember, the cruel didn't just conquer us, Ta said. They changed us. They blocked abilities that were naturally ours. The activator simply reopens those pathways. June closed his eyes. His hand shook slightly as he focused all his attention on the sphere. The room was completely silent except for the soft hum of equipment and the distant drip of water from the cave walls. Suddenly, the sphere twitched. Then it rose slowly into the air, wobbling at first, then becoming steady about a foot above the table. I did it, June shouted, his concentration nearly breaking from excitement. The sphere wobbled again, but stayed floating. The room erupted in cheers and applause. People rushed to pat June on the back as the sphere gently landed back on the table. Hana smiled from the corner where she sat with Atlas's core processor connected to their systems. She remembered her own first success 3 weeks ago. The feeling was like remembering something long forgotten, rather than learning something new. That's 15 of us now, Ta said, marking it on their progress board. Each one gets easier as Atlas refines the activator design. It's not just the technology, Hana added. It's as if our minds remember what they once could do, once the blocks are removed. Their celebration was interrupted as Minji rushed into the room. Her job was monitoring cruel communications. Governor Mole just made an announcement, she said, activating the screen on the wall. You need to see this. The screen showed the tall, pale figure of the cruel governor. His 4 eyes blinked independently as he spoke. In response to recent terrorist activities, new safety protocols are being implemented, the governor announced. All humans must now carry enhanced identity trackers. Research facilities are placed under military protection. Travel between districts requires special permits. These measures are for your protection against dangerous elements seeking to disrupt the peace between our peoples. Minji turned off the screen. They're tightening control everywhere, and they're calling us terrorists. They're scared, Ta said simply. For the first time in 2 centuries, they don't have complete control. Han, what did you find in their systems? Han stepped forward. He had once been a technician in a cruel data center before joining the Resistance. Last week, he had risked everything to access restricted archives. I found records of what they called the Sundering, he said, connecting his device to the main display. Images appeared showing systematic destruction of human cities, libraries, and research centers from 2 centuries ago. It wasn't random destruction during the war like they taught us, Han explained. It was targeted. They destroyed specific knowledge centers. They deleted databases. They killed scientists and artists who carried our cultural memory. The room was silent as they viewed evidence of their stolen history. But there's more, Han continued, showing new images of strange facilities. They took thousands of humans off-world. The records call them research subjects, but they were really looking for humans who naturally resisted their neural suppression. They feared what we might become, Hannah said. Atlas has shown me what humans once could do. We were on the verge of abilities the cruel couldn't match. The heavy door at the back of the room slid open. Ju entered, carrying something wrapped in cloth. Her hands were marked with burns and small cuts. It works, she announced, placing the bundle on the table and carefully unwrapping it. Inside was a sleek silver device, shaped to fit a human hand. The first energy weapon built with our rediscovered technology. Ta picked it up carefully. You got it working from the Atlas schematics. Ju nodded proudly. It converts the user's neural energy into a focused pulse. The cruel armor can't block it because it operates on frequencies they don't understand. Can you make more? Tai asked. With the right materials, yes, but we need access to more processing cores. Ta looked around the room at his people, factory workers, office clerks, and service staff who would become something more. Then we get those cores. It's time to move from hiding to action. Later that night, Hannah sat alone with the Atlas core. The small device glowed softly in the darkness. Are we ready for this? She asked quietly. We're still so few against their whole empire. The cruel succeeded because they acted slowly and secretly, Atlas replied in her mind. They turned humanity against itself over generations. We don't need to defeat their entire empire at once. We only need to awaken enough humans to remember what they truly are. Hannah thought about Jun's face when he moved the sphere, the shock, joy, and wonder of discovering something that should have been impossible. We're just beginning to remember who we really are, she whispered. Outside their hidden base, snow fell softly on the mountains. Below in the cities, cruel patrols increased their searches. But in dozens of secret locations around the world, small groups gathered around activated Atlas nodes, relearning what it meant to be truly human. The resistance was growing stronger each day. Commander Du stood at the window of his command ship, looking down at the burning remains of a human settlement. His scaled skin reflected the red glow of fires below. Once, he had enjoyed hunting humans for sport. Their fear made the chase exciting. Now that enjoyment was gone. Now, he hunted them because he had to. Another resistance cell destroyed in the western sector, Commander, his lieutenant said, entering the room. 12 humans captured, 5 killed during the operation. Du nodded but didn't turn from the window. And the prisoners? What have they told us? Nothing useful yet. They seem different from normal humans. Stronger, more resistant to our methods. Du finally turned, his 4 eyes narrowing. And the research facility in Sector 7, has it reported? The lieutenant shifted uncomfortably. We lost contact 3 hours ago. All communications are down. Du hissed, showing sharp teeth. Send a full strike team. The humans are organizing faster than we expected. They are becoming a real threat. At that exact moment, Hannah was leading her small team through the dark maintenance tunnels beneath that very research facility. Alarms blared in distant corridors, but here in the service areas, They moved unseen. "This way," whispered Jin, the team's security specialist. He had once been a guard at a cruel compound before joining the resistance. The holding cells should be through the next section. Behind them came 4 more resistance fighters, all wearing the neural activators that had awakened their suppressed abilities. Each carried weapons taken from fallen cruel guards. They reached a heavy security door. Jin placed a small device on the lock panel, but nothing happened. "It's not working," he said. "They must have changed the security protocols." "Let me try," said a soft voice from behind them. The woman they had come to rescue pushed forward. The cruel had kept her in this facility for tests, but she seemed calm despite her ordeal. Her name was Yuna, and according to their intelligence, she had special abilities. Yuna placed her hand on the door panel. Her eyes unfocused slightly as if she was listening to something no one else could hear. "The lock has 7 layers of protection," she said quietly. "But it's afraid of me." "Afraid?" Jin asked, confused. "The machine. It recognizes me as something it doesn't understand." Yuna's fingers moved in strange patterns on the panel. "There. It will let us pass now." The door slid open silently. "How did you do that?" Hannah asked as they moved through. "I can hear machines," Yuna explained. "Communicate with them. It started a few months ago. That's why the cruel captured me." "The subjects in this facility," she continued as they moved quickly down the corridor. "The cruel were studying humans who spontaneously developed abilities. Dozens of us. People whose minds broke through the suppression on their own." "Like you?" Jin asked. "Yes, some could move objects. Others could see through walls or heal wounds. The cruel were terrified. They were trying to find out why their suppression was failing. They reached the main laboratory area. Through glass walls, they could see empty testing rooms with strange equipment." "Where are the other test subjects?" Hannah asked. "Gone," Yuna said sadly. "Moved off-world yesterday. I was scheduled for transport tomorrow. That's why your rescue came just in time." They disabled the remaining guards and collected all the research data they could find. Yuna helped bypass security systems as they made their escape through emergency exits. 2 hours later, they'd reached their rendezvous point in an abandoned subway station. Other teams were waiting with vehicles to transport them back to their mountain base. But one team was missing. "Where's Commander Taz's group?" Hannah asked, checking the time. "They should have been here first." A resistance fighter approached with a portable communication device. His face was grim. "Message from our lookouts," he said. "Commander Taz's team was captured during their raid on the weapons facility. Cruel ships surrounded them before they could escape." Hannah felt as if the ground had dropped away beneath her feet. Ta was not just their leader. He knew everything about their operation, their hideouts, their plans. "They'll use mind probes," she said grimly. "We need to move quickly." "How many fighters can we gather in the next hour?" "Maybe 20, Jin answered. "But the cruel will be taking them to the central detention center. It's their most secure facility." "I can help," Yuna said. "The security systems there are connected to the same network I just escaped from. I can speak to them." Hannah looked at the tired faces around her. They had just completed one dangerous mission. Now she was asking them to attempt something even more risky. "I won't order anyone to come," she said. "This is volunteer only." Every person in the room stepped forward. As they prepared their rescue plan, reports came in of cruel ships deploying to human cities worldwide. The alien rulers were expanding their security presence everywhere, sensing the growing resistance. Hannah connected with the Atlas Corps she carried, seeking guidance. "The cruel are implementing containment protocols," Atlas told her. "They recognize the pattern from their previous conquests. They will try to isolate population centers to prevent the spread of awakening." "Can Ta withstand their mind probes?" Hannah asked. "Not indefinitely," Atlas replied. "But I have shared techniques with him that will delay the process." Their rescue team moved through the night city cautiously. Cruel patrols were everywhere. They used their newly developed abilities to avoid detection. Hannah manipulating energy fields to mask their heat signatures, Jin using his enhanced strength to move obstacles, and Yuna communicating with security systems to turn them away. The central detention center rose like a black tower in the middle of the city. No human had ever escaped from it. Until tonight. Using all their skills and the element of surprise, they fought their way inside. Yuna guided them through security checkpoints. Jin broke through reinforced doors. Hannah disabled cruel guards with pulses of energy. They found Tai and 5 other resistance members in the deepest level, already connected to mind probe machines. The prisoners were barely conscious, but alive. Get them out, Hannah ordered as alarms blared throughout the facility. As they carried their rescued comrades to their vehicles, cruel forces converged from all directions. It seemed impossible they would escape. But that night, the impossible happened again, and again as humans used powers long forgotten to overcome their oppressors. Hours later, safe in a temporary hideout, Ta finally regained consciousness. His face was bruised, and his eyes were bloodshot from the mind probes. "Hannah," he whispered, "they know." "Know what?" she asked, helping him drink water. "About Atlas, about what we're doing." He gripped her arm weakly. "They pulled it from my mind before I could block them. The Cruel are preparing for a full crackdown. They're calling in their fleet." Hannah looked at her tired team. The fight was growing bigger than their small resistance, but for the first time in 2 centuries, humans were fighting back with real power. And the Cruel were afraid. The hidden mountain base shook as another cruel bombing run passed overhead. Dust fell from the ceiling. Power flickered. The resistance had been moving from place to place for weeks as the Cruel hunted them with growing desperation. In the command center, the remaining leaders gathered around Yuna. She sat cross-legged on the floor, the Atlas core resting in her hands. Her eyes were closed, and she barely seemed to breathe. "Is she okay?" Jin asked, watching her closely. "She's deep in the connection," Hannah explained. "Her ability to interface with technology is stronger than anything we've seen. She can access parts of Atlas that were locked even to me." Ta leaned against the wall, still recovering from his time in cruel captivity. "We need answers fast. Our safe houses are falling one by one." Yuna's eyes suddenly opened. "There," she said, her voice distant. "I've accessed the encrypted files." The Atlas core projected images into the air around them. Unlike the fragmented information they had seen before, these were complete records, humanity's true past unfolding before their eyes. They saw cities more advanced than even the Cruel had built. Humans moved through them wearing strange devices that connected directly to their nervous systems. People controlled machines with their thoughts and manipulated energy with their hands. "We didn't just have advanced technology," Hannah breathed, watching a woman shape matter with simple gestures. "We could merge our consciousness with machines, manipulate quantum fields." "Look at this," Jin said, pointing to another sequence showing the first Cruel ships arriving. But instead of a war fleet, they came as traders and diplomats. "The Cruel never invaded," he said, scanning the data. "They infiltrated slowly, offered technology that seemed helpful but contained hidden elements. They sabotaged key research facilities, turned human nations against each other." The images showed Cruel agents secretly introducing chemicals into water supplies, food production, and medical treatments, compounds designed to suppress neural development in humans over generations. "They feared our potential," Ta said. "So they poisoned us slowly and made us forget what we were capable of." Yuna suddenly straightened, her eyes wide. "There's more, much more." Her hands moved over the Atlas core, unlocking deeper files. "There's a defense system on the moon, deliberately hidden and forgotten." New images appeared, a massive facility built into the lunar surface. "Protocol Prometheus," Atlas confirmed, its voice filling the room. A final safeguard implemented by human leaders who discovered the Cruel plan too late to stop it completely. They knew humanity would be suppressed for generations, so they created a place to preserve our true knowledge and power. An explosion rocked the base. Alarm systems blared. Cruel forces have found us, a resistance fighter reported over the communication system. Multiple ships landing outside. We have minutes at most. Hannah looked around at her fellow leaders. In their eyes, she saw the same realization she had reached. We need to reach the moon, she said. Everything we need is there. The full knowledge of Atlas, the technology to awaken all of humanity at once. The moon is heavily guarded, Jin said. The Cruel have orbital defense platforms surrounding Earth. But they don't expect anyone to try, Ta pointed out. And we have something they don't know about. Yuna's ability to communicate with their systems. Another explosion, closer this time. Parts of the ceiling collapsed at the far end of the room. We have no choice, Hannah decided. Gather only what's essential. We leave in 10 minutes. Under cover of the attack itself, the small team, Hannah, Jin, Yuma, and the still recovering Ta, slipped away from the mountain base. They traveled hidden in cargo transports to reach a Cruel spaceport. There, Yuna's abilities proved invaluable. She touched the security panel at the perimeter fence, her eyes unfocusing as she communicated with the system. It sees us as authorized maintenance workers, she explained as the gate opened. Inside, they located a small shuttle used for orbital repairs. As alarms began to sound in other parts of the spaceport, they boarded and sealed the door. Can anyone fly this thing? Jin asked. Looking at the alien controls, Yuna placed her hands on the main console. The ship can fly itself. I just need to convince it that we're its friends. The engines hummed to life. Before the Cruel security forces could respond, they were lifting off, accelerating through the clouds and into the darkness of space. Orbital defense platforms ahead, Ta warned, looking at the scanner. I see them, Yuna said, still connected to the ship's systems. They're scanning us, but they won't see us. Not really. The shuttle passed through the defense network undetected, leaving Earth behind. The moon grew larger in their viewports. Atlas, where exactly is this base? Hannah asked. Northern Hemisphere, dark side. Coordinates uploading to navigation system. The shuttle descended toward a massive crater. Nothing looked unusual at first, just gray dust and rocks. Then, as they approached a particular formation, part of the surface shimmered and revealed a landing platform. Optical camouflage, Jin said with awe. Still working after all this time. They landed and entered the base through airlock doors that opened automatically at their approach. Inside, lights activated as they walked, revealing corridors untouched by time. Air composition normalizing, Atlas announced. Life support systems functioning at 98% capacity. They followed Atlas's directions to the central chamber of the facility. As they entered, they froze in amazement. Hundreds of cryogenic pods lined the walls, each containing a sleeping human. These people, Ta whispered, approaching the nearest pod. They're from before the fall. The best minds of their generation, Atlas explained. Scientists, engineers, military leaders, those who discovered the Cruel plot and created this facility as humanity's last hope. One pod near the center began to activate as they approached. Lights changed from blue to green. The clear covering retracted. Inside, a woman with short gray hair opened her eyes slowly, blinking at the light. She sat up with surprising steadiness, looking at each of them carefully before speaking. I am General Sun, she said, her voice hoarse from long disuse. How long has it been? Over 2 centuries, Hannah replied, helping her stand. General Sun nodded grimly. Then it's time. Protocol Prometheus was always meant to be temporary, hiding humanity's power until it could safely return. A warning siren suddenly blared through the facility. Multiple ships detected in lunar orbit, announced an automated system. Cruel military vessels approaching. They tracked us, Jin said. General Sun walked to a control station, her movements becoming more fluid with each step. Defensive systems online. she commanded. Around them, the forgotten base awakened. Screens lit up showing weapons platforms hidden across the lunar surface. Power readings surged as systems dormant for centuries prepared to fight. "Now," General Sun said, turning to Hana with fierce determination, "let's remind the Cruel who we really are." General Sun moved with the confidence of someone who had prepared for this moment her entire life. Her fingers danced across the ancient control panels, bringing systems online that had waited patiently for 2 centuries. "Defense network activating," she announced as screens around the Lunar Command Center showed multiple systems coming to life. Hana watched in amazement as hidden weapons platforms emerged from the lunar surface. Energy signatures flared across displays showing Earth orbit. Pulses of blue light shot from the moon, striking Cruel patrol ships. The alien vessels didn't explode. They simply went dark, drifting powerlessly. "What did you do to them?" Jin asked, watching the enemy ships float harmlessly. "Targeted electromagnetic pulse," General Sun explained, "designed specifically for Cruel systems. It disrupts their technology without harming humans." She turned to another console, activating a complex sequence. Now for the most important part, broadcasting the awakening signal. "What will it do?" Tai asked, still weak but standing strong beside his friends. "Every piece of technology on Earth containing our hidden protocols will activate," General Sun said. "For 200 years, we hid dormant code in everyday devices. The Cruel never found it because they were looking for weapons, not household items." On the screens showing Earth's surface, tiny points of light began to appear, first hundreds, then thousands, then millions, spreading like stars appearing at nightfall. On Earth, a strange thing was happening. People stopped in the middle of streets, workers froze at their stations, students paused with pens hovering over paper. As the signal reached them through their personal devices, neural pathways, long suppressed by Cruel chemicals, flared to life. A woman shopping in a market suddenly found she could sense the thoughts of those around her. A factory worker discovered he could move objects without touching them. A child playing in a park created small sparks between her fingers. Humanity was remembering what it once was. The Cruel noticed immediately. In their command centers, alarms blared as human brain activity readings spiked across the globe. Security forces rushed to contain the situation, but they were too late. In the Cruel High Command Station orbiting Saturn, Supreme Commander Rull received the reports with growing horror. "Impossible," he hissed, his 4 eyes blinking rapidly. "The suppression chemicals are failing everywhere at once." "Worse," his science officer reported. "Humans are manifesting abilities we've never documented. They're turning our own technology against us." Rull made the decision quickly. "Send the emergency signal to the Armada. All ships will converge on Earth with maximum weapons ready. We will destroy the planet rather than lose control of it." Back on the lunar base, Jin detected the approaching fleet. The Cruel Armada has entered the solar system. Hundreds of warships. They'll reach Earth in hours. "Let them come," General Sun replied calmly. "They thought they knew humanity's potential. They were wrong." She turned to Hana. "It's time to awaken the others." Throughout the base, cryogenic pods began their revival sequences. Scientists, engineers, and military leaders who had sacrificed everything to preserve humanity's future woke to find their moment had arrived. On Earth, the awakening accelerated. Resistance cells that had been fighting in secret suddenly found themselves part of a global movement. Ordinary citizens discovered they could disrupt Cruel systems with mere thought. Workers in Cruel factories turned the alien technology against its makers. Yuna established a global communication network, linking awakened minds directly. "The humans who were taken off-world," she reported. "They're awakening too. The signal is spreading through the Cruel network itself." The Cruel tried to maintain control, but their entire system had been built on the assumption that humans would remain suppressed. Now that the suppression was broken, their advantage vanished. Hana stood beside General Sun on the lunar command deck, watching as humanity reclaimed its heritage. Displays showed humans worldwide discovering abilities they never knew they had, moving objects with their minds, manipulating energy, communicating across vast distances without technology. The first wave of the Cruel Armada has reached Earth orbit, Jin reported. On the main screen, massive Cruel warships positioned themselves around the planet, weapons charging. Now, said General Sun, from Earth's surface, from orbital platforms, and from the lunar base itself, humanity's defense systems activated. Not just weapons, but energy fields that disrupted Cruel technology at its most basic level. The space around Earth became a battlefield unlike any in human history. Cruel warships fired planet-killing weapons only to see them dissipate in shimmering fields. Human pilots, their minds now directly connected to their ships, moved with impossible speed and precision. After 3 days of battle, the Cruel Supreme Commander role finally requested communication. In the Lunar Command Center, General Sun nodded to Hana. You should speak for Earth. You bridge both worlds, the suppressed past and the awakened future. Hana stepped forward as the communication screen activated, showing the four-eyed face of the Cruel leader. This conflict can end now, Hana stated firmly. You deceived us, suppressed us, but never truly conquered us. Now you will deal with humanity as equals, or not at all. Supreme Commander Roll hissed softly. You are one world, he countered. We are a confederation of thousands. Even with your awakening, you cannot hope to stand against our full might. General Sun stepped into view, smiling slightly. Earth was merely one of several human worlds, Commander. We scattered ourselves as a precaution centuries ago. The signal that awakened Earth is spreading to the stars as we speak. Humanity's revival has just begun. On the screens around them, data showed the awakening signal reaching distant points in space, hidden human colonies and outposts that had waited generations for this moment. We don't seek war, Hana added. We never did, but we will never again allow our potential to be suppressed. After a long silence, Supreme Commander Rule nodded slowly. Perhaps it is time for a new understanding between our peoples. As the terms of peace were discussed, Hana looked out at the Earth below, beautiful, blue, and finally free. After 2 centuries of darkness, humanity had remembered its light. The revival of humanity's lost power was complete, and their journey to the stars was just beginning.